Good morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff, coming to you live from our home at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We have a busy show today.
Oh, yeah.
Our friend, colleague, host of Amicus, a law review Saturday mornings across the network from 9 to 11. Great show. You will learn so much if you're into that kind of thing.
If that's what you're into.
Thing. Jim Santel joining us after 9:30. Todd Blanche works for the Attorney General's office, had a sit-down with Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, before sending her off to a club fed, essentially. And it's interesting. There's some interesting details in there.
There are no details, Jane. Kash Patel just said nothing really happened.
There's nothing to see.
There's
here.
nothing to see anymore.
We have all the files, but you're not going to see
there.
them because there's nothing in there.
There's never. Jeffrey Epstein was just a nice boy who liked Florida.
Yeah. So
Don't you understand that?
We're going to talk to Jim Santel, among many other things. Hour number 2, Brittany Merlot will be here, Civic Media meteorologist, for a little weather and wine.
Yes.
Talk about this incredible. It really has been beautiful here, at least in southeastern Wisconsin.
Yes.
It's been summer.
Oh, my gosh, yes. It's very, very nice. It's been like mid-70s for a while.
Flirting with 80s. How long is this going to last? It's not going to last.
Not long.
So Brittany will be here with an update, and we're going to talk a little bit about fall colors, too, because that is a thing.
Yes, it is.
I am going with a friend of mine the first weekend in October.
Are you going leaf peeping?
We're going leaf peeping.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to go to Prairie du Chien.
Love it.
And then go along the Mississippi River.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
We'll talk Leafs in hour number 2. J.R. Radcliffe, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel sports guru, will be here at 10:30 to talk all things sports. And we will end the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today, the Blades of Glory edition.
Yeah, this one is a interesting one. Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
That's coming up at the end of the show, which, by the way, if you just want to hear that portion of the show, This Shouldn't Be a Thing is its own podcast.
Yeah, it's its own mini cast. You can go to civicmedia.us/shows and download all of them. Actually, if you go to Matenaer On Air show page and you click on that, there's actually a side link there that takes you right to This Shouldn't Be a Thing. You can download those episodes and listen to them. And they're literally between 3 to 5 minutes long.
Just real short shots.
And you can, get yourself a little shot of happy for over the lunch break and listen to some news that really matters, folks.
There you go.
News that matters. This shouldn't be a thing.
We do have baseball coming up later on today. The Brewers hosting the Angels. Our broadcast starts at 6:05 as always. You do have to listen on terrestrial radio, but you can catch the game in Richland Center on WRCE, in Oshkosh and WISS, beautiful Park Falls, WCQM, in Hayward, WBZH, and here in Racine and Kenosha on WRJN. Brewers hosting the Angels tonight. Our broadcast will start at 6:05. We wanted to start off with this. This broke last night. Jimmy Kimmel, his show on ABC has been put on semi-indefinite hiatus. He was referencing the Charlie Kirk assassination on Monday night.
Yes.
And this is the clip that apparently led to this. Calvin, can we play that clip, please, from Jimmy Kimmel?
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the 4th stage of grief, construction. Demolition.
That is what Jimmy Kimmel said, essentially, on Monday night. There was a little more to it.
Yes, but I will point out that every story that I've seen so far isn't including the joke portion. It's just from we hit some new lows to the accusation that Tyler Robinson, who's the accused shooter, that he is MAGA, GOP, whatever. Like the that was it. That's all they were referencing. They didn't even reference the joke in what I was seeing. They just wanted that little paragraph,
that first part.
those 2-3 sentences. That's what did it. It wasn't a joke at Charlie Kirk's expense. It wasn't making fun of their family. He wasn't saying anything other than just a simple observation. That's it. Not even a joke.
Well, and that clip that he played from Donald Trump was not edited.
Nope.
Because I saw that when it was live.
And there was more to it. They showed even more about the fact that Donald Trump has been all about this ballroom, building this ballroom at the White House, on the White House lawn, essentially. That itself wouldn't even be enough, in my opinion, as quote unquote a joke. Because once again, it's not making fun of Charlie Kirk.
No.
There's at no point is his memory, his legacy, his family being held at expense to make a chuckle. This was simply the starting point for something they've wanted to do for a while.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Brendan Carr, little history lesson.
Our FCC chairman.
Brendan Carr, who is the head of the FCC, in Project 2025, wrote about the new role of the FCC. And this is exactly from the Project 2025 playbook.
Yes.
Brendan Carr, after that Monday night show from Jimmy Kimmel, he went on a podcast and said, there is a strong case for the FCC pursuing action against ABC Disney, which owns that show. Quote, this is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to take action on Kimmel, or there is going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with an obligation to operate in the public interest, unquote.
That all that great wording he used, just we're going to bully you into
doing into doing what the administration wants.
And this is all about fear. And you know, I have been incredibly patient for the past few months with certain people on my Facebook about what they've been saying and how they've been responding to the things that I post, because I've actually been using Facebook a lot more lately to post articles and pose questions and try to get people's understanding on what is going on with everything happening all the time.
All the time, yes.
And I actually finally, this was the last straw. I had to unfriend people because they were just saying either really dumb or uninformed or contrarian things because they don't care about the results of the conversation. They were making jokes at expense of Jimmy Kimmel and his family. And they were doing, like, it's gotten to the point where they have created Brendan Carr and the Nexstar group. They've created such controversy around nothing that it doesn't matter as long as whomever is posing not a threat. I don't want to say threat. Whomever is in their mind disrespecting their movement gets taken down. And that's all they need. They don't see they don't understand the ripple effects.
Oh, exactly.
And that's what I said is like if you are a MAGA fan, if you are a GOP, this should scare you.
Absolutely.
Because at some point the Constitution won't be there to protect you either. And you're going to be sitting there going, but I MAGA'd. I GOP'd. I love freedom. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But go ahead, make jokes now. This is the start. Just because it was something you didn't like doesn't mean they won't come after something you enjoy.
Back in 2022, Brendan Carr, the now head of the FCC, tweeted out in support of President Biden's defense of satire. Yeah. Brendan Carr in 2022, you can find it on Twitter, tweeting in defense of political satire. Yeah. Because it's important that you be able to poke fun at those in power. That's kind of why we have a First Amendment.
Yes, and it is if you are in the industry of this very specific industry of comedy, it is your job to make good satire. And honestly, this wasn't even satire. Again, they don't even reference the joke about the construction. They reference the true fact that since the tragic, horrific, and undeserving death of Charlie Kirk, something that should never have happened
to anyone.
And I hate having to say I'm against political violence because it should be a given. I have to clarify this point. It was about the fact that since that action last week, Wednesday, the GOP have been doing everything they can to make Tyler Robinson the most Antifa, liberal, trans-endorsing, freedom-hating person ever, when still we don't have a lot of information. We're still learning, but they will do everything they can to make him seem like he had nothing to do with the GOP and MAGA movement. And that's all that Jimmy Kimmel was calling out. That's it. And that was enough.
Oh, right. There's also another part in here that I think is important when...
Tell me more,
it's called
Jane.
Following the Money.
Oh, money is amazing. I wish I had some.
Interesting little point here. Perry Sook is the head of Nexstar. And guess what? Nexstar wants to go into a big merger. Big merger.
Yeah.
They want to merge with CW. Or, oh, no, I'm sorry. They already own CW, but they have a merger that they want approved by the FCC.
This is Colbert again.
It is, absolutely, because CBS, Paramount had a merger that they wanted. And so they capitulated to Trump and the Trump administration because his feelings get hurt because people make fun of him.
Yeah.
That's why.
And I just want, so there is that merger, the Nexstar merger that wants to take place. So their money is more important than your freedom. Never forget that. Their money is more important than your freedom. Also, so Skydance bought Paramount. They merged, I should say. Now Skydance, whose son is the president of Skydance, the owner, the guy in charge of it, is Larry Ellis's son. Larry Ellis is a multi-billionaire Trump supporter. He now wants to buy Warner Brothers. So Skydance takes up Paramount. Now he wants, so we're going to be going through this every time a big multi-billion-dollar company wants something from the FCC or wants approval from the government. The government now gets to sit there and go, well, let's see what you have that we do and don't like, and we'll get rid of that first.
Exactly.
And these guys will be none too happy to sit down and go, yeah, I'll get rid of them.
They will roll over quicker than you can, yes. Sue from Franklin texting in, listening on WAUK. Sure, that anchor from Fox can say that we should kill homeless people, and he gets to come back with a so-so apology. But he doesn't get canceled. He doesn't get suspended. No, because it's called, I don't know, double standards.
And Sean Hannity was on Fox News last night saying that the Trump administration had nothing to do with Jimmy Kimmel's suspension.
Of course he didn't.
So this plan has been laid long ago. It's being put into play right now because this is what they've wanted for years. 855-752-4842 if you would like to join the conversation. Ronnie from Horicon says Brendan Carr wrote the chapter in Project 2025. Yes, he did. On the FCC. Stay with us. You're listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board. Coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter, talking about the importance of independent media in the wake of Jimmy Kimmel's show being suspended indefinitely after he made a comment on Monday night regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination, which we have said repeatedly, will continue to say repeatedly, was a horrible, tragic thing that shouldn't happen to anyone on either side. But while we're talking about independent media and its importance, Civic Media has launched a new daily newsletter. It's a new email newsletter on Substack. We really do have people all over the state covering things on the ground happening here in Wisconsin. And the other thing that they do, because we just launched it yesterday, there's little compilations from all of the network shows. So if you don't have time to go and listen to everybody, there are little snippets from each of our shows every day. It's really a valuable resource, and it's free.
Yes.
So check it out. Go to civicmediatoday.substack.com and subscribe for free to the Civic Media Today new email daily newsletter. We want to play that clip again from Jimmy Kimmel that he played on Monday night, which is ostensibly the reason for them suspending him. Calvin, can we play that clip once more, please?
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
So that's pretty much the whole clip. And I've heard many worse things said on Fox. Fox, by the way, the network that was fined almost $1 billion for lying to its audience repeatedly that the 2020 election had been stolen. And if you want to go back and look at some of the testimony from some of the hosts on Fox News, including Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, admitting they knew what they were saying were lies.
Yeah. And I don't often do this because I've got better things to do with my life, but being accused that we are spreading lies about the story, if you look at the connection between Brendan Carr, who is the chairman of the FCC, what he wrote in Project 2025 to what he's doing right now, pressuring the network, and not being talked about, the affiliates being pressured also to do something about Kimmel, and if they don't, they won't have money. They won't have money to be
to defend their license.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the government is stepping in. And as Jenny put it on the live stream, she said, it is not a violation of the First Amendment when a company fires an employee for doing something that brings unwanted attention to company against company policy.
You're absolutely right.
It is a violation of the First Amendment when the director of the FCC goes on a podcast and threatens the company's license, and then the company fires them, which is what Brendan Carr did. He went on Benny Johnson's podcast and said that. So, yeah, the evidence is right there, and if you can't see it, that's not my problem.
Well, and we have another someone. Jimmy Kimmel was spreading blatant disinformation, and you're defending it. What was the blatant disinformation?
Yeah, you told it. Show your work.
I don't see where.
Show your work.
There were multiple attempts to paint the suspect in this assassination.
Yeah.
Before all the details were released. Good heavens, we had the head of the FBI stating that we had a suspect in custody before we ever had a suspect in custody.
Yeah, they've been talking about this, and
what Trump said is actually what the president of the United States said. That was not edited. That was accurate. That is not disinformation. That is reporting an actual event.
And again, they weren't even talking about the joke in the stories. The New York Times didn't even reference that joke in their breaking news story that I got last night. It was simply the setup of saying that the GOP is just looking to make sure that the murder of Charlie Kirk has nothing to do with them, has nothing to do with their movement, and is all about the Liberal Party and Antifa, who, by the way, the president announced yesterday that he's going to designate Antifa as a terrorist group. Okay, great, good work. To me, as a comedian, as someone who works in comedy and I work in media, this is terrifying.
This should trouble everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And again, I want to include this article from the Bulwark in our show notes because it covers just some good reminders in there. Let's not forget that almost exactly a year ago, the now president of the United States, said out loud that Haitian immigrants in Ohio were eating and killing people's pets.
Mm-hmm.
J.D. Vance later went on to admit that was made up.
Yeah.
But he said, if I have to create stories so the American media pays attention, that's what I'm going to do. That's what he said.
Which is a very nice way of saying, I'm going to lie to get our way. So,
Pretty much.
I mean, it's just... also, yeah, they also like to say that the ratings, someone on the text line is like, the ratings were in the toilet. No, the market speaks when at the end of a season, the network says we're going to cancel the show.
Or if you don't cancel the show, bad things might happen to your license.
Exactly. So if you want to defend this move towards authoritarianism, the people in the live stream, the comments, and the text, fine, go for it. I'm glad that you have a varying definition of the word freedom.
We have news coming up next, and then Jim Santel, host of Amicus, a law review, joining us on the other side. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. You can call. You can text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We are waiting to be joined by our friend and colleague and host of Amicus, a law review Saturdays across the network from 9 to 11. Jim Santel is a working lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
He is a working attorney, so he actually is doing some actual work, legal work this morning, so he will join us as soon as he gets his duties wrapped up in court, I believe. But we did, before we went to the bottom of the hour news, we were talking about Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Kimmel's show being pulled indefinitely from ABC after a comment he made on Monday night about the gunman who assassinated Charlie Kirk. We're taking your calls and your posts at 855-752-4842. Interesting takes on this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And people have their opinions, and I get that, but this is just Stephen Colbert a few months later.
Absolutely. And again, Brendan Carr, who is now the current head of the FCC, Brendan Carr wrote the chapter in Project 2025 about the FCC and what they planned to do to that agency, which is what they're implementing now.
Yeah.
And it's essentially making sure that everything that's broadcast goes along with what Donald Trump wants.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
God forbid you make any jokes at his expense. He's got such a great sense of humor.
And luckily, all those people at the top who run all of those networks and the affiliates and whatnot. Oh, we forgot to say, by the way, one major thing we forgot to do. If you'd like to call Nexstar Media, you can. They have a phone number.
They do have a phone number.
Perry Sook, whose name just sounds completely made up for a comic book, 972-373-8800. Let them know. And I've been seeing people post their cancellation of Disney Plus, their cancellation of Hulu, their cancellation of anything having to do with ABC or Disney. And
Nexstar is a big part of that.
Nexstar is a big part of it. 972-373-8800. Perry Sook's phone number if you'd like to let them know what you think. But luckily, all those people, Jane, at the top love their money more than they love the people, and especially capitulation is the way to make those cash registers cha-ching.
Which is what they did to Colbert.
Yeah.
Essentially,
and
ABC had a deal that they wanted to be approved, which they needed to be approved by the FCC, so Stephen Colbert will be gone.
Yeah.
And Nexstar, which you mentioned, Mr. Sook, they have a merger that is coming up. That's before the FCC.
Yep.
And if you want to get the blessing of the FCC under Donald Trump, you better do what he wants. 855-752-4842. Ollie from the Northwoods is joining us. Good morning, Ollie. What do you want to say?
Well, I was reading an article yesterday after Jimmy Kimmel was fired or suspended, I should say, that Trump started out going after James Colbert, and when he was done with that, he automatically said Jimmy Kimmel is next.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And now that yesterday they got comments from Trump in an article that he was praising the fact that Jimmy Kimmel was
Suspended.
laid off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, and so will be next.
Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers.
Yeah, they're next on the list.
Yeah. He wants all late night canceled.
Because they've made jokes at his expense.
Yep.
And he does it, and he is one of the most thin-skinned people on the face of the planet who cannot take a joke.
And let's take a step back and just bathe in the pure, unadulterated irony of the fact that the MAGA and GOP party movement, whatever you want, I'll call them, infection, they have what they did a few years ago, which was anyone who said anything wrong, anything who said anything they didn't like, they would get them. They were
Canceled.
They were afraid of being canceled.
Cancel
I
culture.
I can't say what I want anymore, James, because America isn't free. Now the shoe's on the other foot, and anything you say that disrespects to your leader, oh my gosh, fire them, cancel them,
Cancel them immediately.
It's like they created the best blueprint for themselves to follow. This is absolute hypocrisy, and it is disgusting. And I could talk about this for decades, but I won't because someone's here.
Jim Santel is here. Thank you, Ollie, for checking in. Appreciate your time. Jim Santel back from doing actual legal work. Now joining us live. Good morning, Jim. Thanks for making time for us and
It's
joining
always,
us today.
Shane, great. Delighted, honored to be with you again on another so very serious morning in America. And the challenges do not end, do they? And again, the question from Ali and others, the thing that I hear, I was in with a group yesterday, a civics group of 60 people, whose question once again was, what do we do? How do we respond to this, right? And you do whatever you can do. Obviously, we would never advocate anything illegal or violent, but you do all of those other things that you and your listeners are talking about to respond to this, including doing things with your pocketbook economically. You cancel those things that are no longer consistent with your view. As you know, I've been a big advocate, too, of pulling out an envelope and a stamp and a piece of correspondence and writing a letter to the leaders of CBS and ABC and all the other entities. And yes, indeed, law enforcement, and yes, indeed, people in Congress, and letting them know how you feel about these things. That does have impact, and it cannot be overstated the extent to which, again, voices, individual and collective, need desperately to be heard. President is not going to hear about it. He does hear it. He doesn't want to hear about it. But there are other voices out there that I think are still maybe reasonable and can be affected by advocacy of this kind.
Well, and one thing I want to share, and what you said just made me think about it too, Jim. If you like Civic Media and you appreciate what Civic Media does, and you would like to help support Civic Media, there are several ways that you can do that. And one way, and Todd talks about this on his show all the time, if you hear an advertiser on Civic Media, go in there and tell them that you appreciate their advertising with our company.
Yeah.
There are little things that you can do. Not everybody can buy a T-shirt. Not everybody can buy a mug. We absolutely understand that. But you can do word of mouth, which is really, really important. Yeah. So if you can help spread the word about Civic Media to your friends, to your neighbors, to your family members, or again, support our sponsors. Go in and let our sponsors know how much you appreciate their being on Civic Media and helping our mission.
Right. And Jane, the important footnote to that very, very outstanding recommendation, it falls in the category not only of letting the people whose views are different than yours know about that, but supporting those people who are doing the right thing in America. And that includes, again, not only, I would immodestly and with bias say it is Civic Media and the advertisers here, but also there are federal judges out there who are doing the right thing. They can't respond to you, but write them a letter. Write a letter to Judge Mame Frimpong, who a number of weeks ago said, yes, you need reasonable suspicion before you can arrest people, even though that's contrary to what the Supreme Court said 10 days ago. Send a letter to those people, frankly, at Harvard that are pushing back against this president and say, please keep doing that. Again, they probably won't respond to you. Do that as well. Find those advertisers, find those media outlets that are doing the right thing, print media, obviously radio, television, and let them know too. Thank you for doing this. Keep it up. We're noticing, and it is important. Those letters can be, I would say, just as effective as the letters of complaint that may or may not fall on deaf ears.
Well, and I think those letters that aren't complaints actually stand out a little bit more because they're not complaints.
Right.
Everybody takes the time to sit down and gripe about stuff, but to actually write something down about, you did a good job, thank you for doing a good thing. Those are increasingly rare.
And if someone speaks in the public domain, do the same thing, right? Exactly that. Let them know. I always say, if you go to the mailbox and you see a handwritten note from me, Jane, or Greg, and it's got a stamp on it, got all the other things in your mail, what do you open first? Not just because it comes from me, but because it is handwritten, it's personal. That's the one that gets the attention.
Absolutely. All right. We wanted to jump into a little bit the little sit down that Todd Blanche had with Ghislaine Maxwell. And I was reading an article that, honest to God, Jim, I had to stop and read it 3 times to make sure I understand. He essentially said that the only reason that he sat down with this woman convicted not only of trafficking women, but lying, convicted of lying to questioners. Todd Blanche said, the point of the interview was not for me to pressure test every single answer she gave. The point of the interview was to allow her to speak, which no one had done before. Is that? I know I've been waiting for Ghislaine Maxwell to have a chance to speak and defend herself on all the terrible things that she did. Are you kidding me?
Right. And can we list the 17 things that are wrong with that? Mr. Deputy Attorney General, who practices law privately on behalf of the president, still has an attorney-client relationship with him, by the way, and is now the second in command of the United States Department of Justice. Stunning representations. So let's pull back and ask that question once again. If you are, in fact, in the midst of an investigation, if there's something legitimate you need to do, number one, you don't ask the powder puff questions that he asked. You go in and you do, in fact, press for credibility issues and information, that sort of thing. That was not this interview. It was very badly done, as any lawyer of any kind will tell you. And again, to the comment that you just made about his justification now, he's probably trying to explain himself to the American public, if not the bar. It basically, what he also says things like, it's up to the American people to determine whether they believe her answers were credible or whether they found her not credible. What, Mr. Blanche? What are you talking about? And in the end, again, this notion that somehow this served some purpose is just absolutely ridiculous. And beyond that, she had a right, of course, during the course of her trial, to have that voice out there. Again, she has every right in the Fifth Amendment not to testify. There's the forum to get on the stand and tell America you did or did not do this. You don't have to do that, Mr. Blanche. You're the prosecutor in this case, at least you were. And so what is the point of this? We know what the point of this was. It was political. It's because your former client asked you to do that, to put together this record that is meaningless in terms of any new information. It is full of denials. It's full of lies. And you're the one who perpetuated that. How dare you, Mr. Deputy Attorney General, do that? And now I'm trying to justify this on the basis that I wanted to give her a forum. Well, you know what? There are a lot of Americans who would like a forum. Are you going to go around and interview every one person out there? No, that's not your job. It never has been. And this is just the latest attempt by someone who knows better, probably, who's trying now to justify somehow the bad behavior in which he himself engaged.
And I think it's really important, Jim, to emphasize that point, that what he did in this sit down with Ghislaine Maxwell does not happen. That is not his role. He should never have done that. Ever.
Not at all. Not at all. If there are reasons for investigations to be conducted, we have recent events where that has happened plainly. What do? You send people, it could be federal agents, it could be state agents, local agents, who interview people dispassionately based upon the facts. That's how you do it. You get a report, you send that back into the prosecutors. Decisions are made about prosecution.
We're to continue
not here.
Our conversation with Jim Santel, host of Amicus, a law review, Saturdays 9 to 11 across the network. Stay with us. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. We will be right back. Good morning and welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, the one and only Calzone on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can always join us. Call or text or leave a voice note.
You can leave a voice note, folks.
At 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter.
Voice notes can only be left through the app, though, so you have to get the Civic Media app on your device to leave a voice note. And we're talking about voice notes right now because someone left a very nice voice note for Jim Santel. Calvin, can you play it?
I just want to say I thoroughly enjoy when Jim gets fired up about this stuff because I don't think enough people in that sphere are. So, Jim, I very much appreciate you and everything that you bring to the forefront as far as this topic goes.
Thank you so much for that voice note coming in from WLCX in La Crosse and also Joe in La Crosse. Thank you so much for having Jim Santel on your show. He is so informative and explains things so well.
Mm-hmm.
What nice comments, and I'm blushing here through the mechanisms of radio, and it is my great joy. I will tell you that yesterday, Constitution Day, I had this great opportunity. I was in Williams Bay, and 60 people, nonpartisan, apolitical, Republicans, Democrats got together. We talked about these constitutional challenges. And again, like your listeners who say these very nice things about this program, others, and yes, also me, I guess, people getting together saying we are frustrated, we are concerned, and we need to know what the facts are. And so that's what you do here every day. And that's why listeners respond in that way. It was really very reassuring to know that, again, there are people across parties yesterday. 60 people gathered together from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the library in Williams Bay. And they're all, again, no violence here. They are angry about what's going on in America these days. And it's an informed population. I would offer that political people on all sides of the aisle should be attentive to those folks, not only for what's happening about 400 days from now when you go to the polls, but also right now. If you are losing the credibility inside your constituencies, you are doing something wrong. And maybe right now you don't suffer the consequences of that, but you got to think about your legacy long term, as does this attorney general. I realize the president doesn't think about his legacy at all. Other people out there who are joining this attorney general and doing these kinds of things, the others, whether it's the Health and Human Services Secretary, Homeland Security, there is a time when the history of this time will be written. Where will you be? What side of history will you be on in government and also then outside government? That's the question you ask every single day on this program.
Well, and Justice Sonia Sotomayor said during a recent decision, she said, I hear some of these arguments coming out from some of the Trump administration lawyers, and I wonder, where did they go to law school?
Yes. Yeah. She says, again, just yesterday, she's in New York, and she says that if in fact you're advocating for some of these things, I don't know, I wonder out loud, every time I listen to a lawyer-trained representative saying we should criminalize free speech in some way, I think to myself, that law school failed. And that's one of many things that she says, right? And so, again, here's where you're right. Write to the dean of the law school, who is people who are saying these things, and ask for a statement of whether or not you, dean, whoever that is, endorse what your graduate has said on the record in court or, frankly, in the media somewhere. Is this what you're teaching at fill in the blank law school? Ask that question. Be a part of that advocacy too. Isn't that an important part of what we do?
I'm also going to say this too, that, when the time comes to write the history of all of the things that have happened over the past year or so, 10 years, actually, I should say, there will be the attempts to whitewash it, to sane-wash it, to read to all the, quote, good things, as we are going to see with this history. The country has a history of doing with just the Civil War and statues and naming things after dead traitors and the Smithsonian. Where will you be on the side of true history to say this is not what happened? These are the things these individuals said and did to suffocate our democracy, to benefit their pockets and their power. That is the ultimate mission, I think, and that we should have as an informed electorate, is that when the history books are also written, not just at the ballot box to cast our vote, but when they're trying to write these stories, we stand up and say no.
855-752-4842. Dean from Wausau is on the line. Good morning, Dean. Thanks for joining us. What did you want to say?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm just, everything that Trump has done over the years, I've always thought that cooler heads would prevail and things were going to even out. But this most recent thing with the FCC's threatening of Jimmy Kimmel, this is how democracy dies.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I'm actually frightened now. Not for me. I'm old enough where I'll probably not live to see it go the full length, but I'm afraid for my children. They're both members of marginalized communities because of their sexuality, and I just think welcome to the American oligarchy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really appreciate it, Dean. Thank you so much. Thank you for checking in and taking the time to make a call.
Yes.
And yeah, it's frightening. I'm with you. I'm 65. I'll be dead. But I am genuinely concerned for what is to come because we are following the playbooks of Viktor Orban in Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
He took over the universities first, and all the universities capitulated. And the next thing he did was take over the media. And that is dangerous for all of us.
Yep.
All of us.
Yeah.
And I'm not a mathematician, Jane and Greg, but we're 8 months into this. There are 40 more months of this. And so if it is denigrated this quickly, this fast, again, we've got elections in about 12, 14 months or so, but we've got 40 more months of this. What is going to happen in the immediate future while we're still here? As you've said, we have an obligation to push back.
Jim Santel, join him Saturdays at the fabulous show, Amicus, a Law Review, 9 to 11. Thanks so much, Jim. We'll see you next week. We have news coming up next. Stay with us. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us. Call or text or leave a voice note at 855-752-4842. You can leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Important thing about the voice note, though, you can do that via the Civic Media app. And there are a couple of really good reasons for you to get that app.
Name them, Jane. I dare you to show me the work on why the app is good.
Tomorrow is our final free ticket Friday of the summer.
Yeah.
So it's your last chance to pick up a 4-pack of Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets with
Squishy seats.
squishy seats.
Don't give me the. I knew what to say.
Okay, all right.
You're like, I gave you the script. There's squishy seats. There's carpeting. And it's really hot. Oh my gosh. The air conditioning.
You can feel
That's
the breeze.
oh my god.
Yeah.
The club level seat. Like, look, everyone wants to sit behind home plate in the first row. I get that. I understand that appeal. But club level just feels. I don't know. Just like this feels good.
And you really get a really good view of home plate from these seats.
Honestly, in my opinion, there's no bad seat at the ballpark, as I call it, County Stadium 2, Electric Boogaloo. But yeah, the club level seats that we give out are really, really good. They're along the home base, third base, third base, home base. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's just great. It's just a great time. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you win these tickets and you go to the game, we hope you go to the game. You should want to go to the game. But take pictures and send them to us through the Civic Media app. Oh my God!
The app is completely free. Tomorrow, as we said, is our final free ticket Friday for this 4-pack of Brewers tickets. So starting with Pat Kreitlow at 6 a.m., he will have a keyword for you.
Yes.
We will have a different one from 9 to 11. Tom Hartman, 11 to 2. Todd Albert, 2 to 4. Maggie Dawn, 5 to 6, or 4 to 6. That gives you 5 chances to enter.
And then Pete Schwaba, 6 to 8.
And Pete's not in this.
Oh, my mistake.
Not free ticket Fridays.
Ah, darn it.
But 5 chances starting tomorrow with Pat Kreitlow at 6 a.m. So download the Civic Media app for that, and then there is going to be a new multi-state text-to-win contest coming very, very soon.
Whoa.
With wonderful and fabulous prizes. That could, but probably won't change the course of your entire life.
I don't know. You might, who knows? Let's let the options stay open and keep your mind free to accept the possibilities.
Of
Get
life-changing
that Civic
prizes.
Media app on your phone or device, and then you get in touch with it. And you can also listen to us anywhere in the world. You can choose. You can listen to us via any station. If you don't have access to, if there's a show you really like, and you're like, I can't listen to it, you can listen to it through the app. Shows. You can't listen to games through the app. That's a different thing.
That's a different thing.
But the app is just wonderful. It just makes sense. And you can get news. It's really, really just all-encompassing.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's completely free.
Yes.
So go to wherever you get your apps, download the Civic Media app, and then be ready tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. to get in the running for that 4-pack of Brewers tickets. And then our next multi-state text-to-win contest coming very, 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 very soon.
Do you know what else is free, Jane? The new Civic Media newsletter, too.
It is.
I mean, my goodness, there's just all sorts of stuff happening here.
It's great. We have reporters all over the state under the direction of our news director, Shelly Pittman. They are doing a great job, and it's really a one-stop shop for all of our happenings across all of the shows and across all of the networks. So download the Civic Media app, subscribe to our new daily Civic Media newsletter. It's all completely free.
Correct.
Wanted to start off with this. Brittany Merlot will be here in a little bit for a little weather and wine, and then we will lighten it up. But for right now, this shouldn't happen to anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what side of the issues you are on. This has to stop. This from WPR, Wisconsin GOP lawmaker, says he's received death threats after his comments on the LGBTQ plus flag. We talked about this on Monday with Shelly Pittman.
Yes.
That there is a new decision that only certain flags will be allowed to fly over the state capitol. This will not include the LGBTQ flag. There's certain parameters now that they're going to limit this. But Republican State Representative Jerry O'Connor says that he is in favor of limiting the amount of flags that can fly. And now he's been getting some really serious death threats.
Yeah.
There are more than a dozen, I don't know, maybe 24 death threats, including phrases like, this guy needs to be Charlie Kirked. This guy needs a lethal injection. We know where you live. You need to be hung in the public square. This needs to stop, people.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens all across the board. This, fearing violent threats, CDC medical experts are afraid to talk about vaccine safety. Former CDC Chief Medical Officer Deborah Hurry says, I have many people that won't speak about vaccines now and have taken their names off of papers. They don't want to present publicly anymore because they have been purposely targeted. I myself have been subject to threats. This needs to stop from everybody.
Yeah. I don't, and that's, I mentioned this earlier, and I mentioned this in the first hour. I hate that we have to say this out loud now that we're against political violence, because it should go without saying. It should be a given that while I disagree with this law they want to put into place that's limiting the amount of the flags they will fly on the Capitol, I do not think any harm should come to someone who does support it. And just to answer the question from Brendan on the live stream, he says, what about Pride Month? Too bad. No pride flag during Pride Month either. And this all stems from the fact that Tony Evers a few years ago flew the pride flag during Pride Month.
And was the first governor to do so.
And when you look at the story itself, it looks to be targeting the pride flag, and there was another flag in there that had to do with, like, not Black Lives Matters, but they want Juneteenth. Thank you very much, Calvin. I appreciate it. Thank you for that reminder. So read up about, and I have it in the show notes about what the law covers. And I do not agree with it, but I certainly do not agree with the threatening of anyone's life, because that solves nothing. It delegitimizes your platform personally.
Absolutely.
If you advocate for the violence of others, especially if you think the violence of those that you support is abhorrent, as it is. But if you think it's okay for others, then you have no credibility. So take a step back and just say, all right, this isn't good thinking. This is not how we achieve results. Yes, I don't like this law, but hopefully, guess what? Next year, we get to vote in about 400 days for our state Senate and our state assembly. And because of fairer maps, we have the ability to put new lawmakers into office. And that's what you should be focusing your time and attention. There are people making announcements every day in this state running for state Senate, state assembly, governor, lieutenant governor. If those are the people who represent you, get on board. Knock on doors, make phone calls, talk to people, because Jim just talked about in the last hour that there are Republicans out there who don't like what's happening. Find those individuals and empower them to speak up as well. But making snide, terrible comments online or through whatever medium you're choosing doesn't do anything.
Well, the threats are, stop it. Just stop it. And by the way, since we're on the subject of free speech.
Whoa.
Right. And let's share this.
Wow.
And yes, we'll share this.
Yeah.
Free speech is important.
Yep.
Even if we don't like the things you say.
Yeah.
And we're not going to play the voice note because there's curse words in here, but let me share what just came in. January, chain smoking hag, you're a skank, you're a childless B word, you're nasty and ugly, grow up, get a job, become a Republican, you're a nasty, lying, retorting, okay, and you're just a piece of blank, good something, okay. Grow up, get a job, become a Republican.
By the way, that's not my last name. Just,
Oh, spelling is not important. I support your right to say those things.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
it's called free speech. That's called your opinion.
Yeah. And there's another one too. There's another one.
Oh, good.
He's back. I'll say he's because he'll appreciate me.
Acknowledging
his gender. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. The trolls. The people who disagree. So there's people who disagree with us, and I appreciate it. There are people who've called in, and I'm going to shout them out right now. Dave from Mequon, you've called, and you've been respectful. We disagree, and we talk. And that's it. That's great. I have respect for that. I love those conversations because we can go back and forth, and I want to have them. I don't want the person who left this very colorful voice note. I want nothing bad to happen to them because that doesn't make me happy at all. That would never make me happy. So, but when it comes to the trolls.
Well, my whole thing is, and again, you are certainly entitled to your opinion. It's only taken me 44 years to be called the C word. I kind of feel like that's an accomplishment.
That's a terrible high five.
It's an achievement.
But
you know, you have the right to say those things. If you want to point out the flaws in my arguments, if you would like to point out the flaws in my logic,
yes,
I welcome that. Absolutely.
Well, this guy who is now identifying himself, but I won't identify him.
I kind of think I know who it is.
Oh, I know. He said it. He's given it away in all the messages.
Oh,
but,
nice.
He also, said that I don't have an American male haircut. I mean, see, that's the thing is like, yeah. See, that's the thing, Jane, is that those things have never bothered me because this is the one time I'll say this. I was bullied as a kid, so I've heard way worse.
I bet you
And
have.
so therefore, I'm just like, is this the bet? My weight? Oh God, not my weight, everybody.
No. Greg will just be over here, this blubbering
I'm
mess
in the crying
because
liberal tears.
He's been completely blown out of the water
into
by
my genderless vegan yogurt.
some mean comments.
Oh God,
But,
save me!
We'll be okay.
Yeah,
I think we will survive. This again, going back to stop it. People have the right to disagree with you.
Yeah.
People have the right. It's called the First Amendment right to have opinions about things without being threatened, without being doxxed, without their children being put at risk. We're better.
I know you're really trying hard to say better.
I want us to be better than this.
I think there are a lot of us who are better than that. And unfortunately, the people who yell the loudest are the ones who are hurt. If you don't have the money to buy a platform, then you have to scream louder than everybody else. And in certain instances, we see it all the time. Like the gentleman who he's trolling so hard, I think his house is under a bridge.
Afraid he's going to hurt himself.
I mean, and he only comes out every once in a while. And man, I like the end though. Grow up, get a job, and become a public. I'm grown up. I'm tall.
We're working.
I'm working my job right now.
Are we working?
I turn 50 in a few years.
We are actually working.
And this is just a side note. We could talk about another day. Someone told me once. They said, Greg, as you get older and you get married and you'll become a conservative. That's how it works. Okay.
I've been married 23 years.
You own a home.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to happen. And especially with comments like that, because I want to be just like you.
But anyways, thanks for reaching out, everybody. We appreciate it. And Cassandra, you're absolutely right. Snowflakes, they are only on the left. Right, sure.
We're going to be warm and fuzzy on the other side. Brittany Merlot will be here with a little weather and wine. Stay with us. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back to this native song. and welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, resident young person Calvin on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where Greg and I are both employed. You can always join us at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. She joins us every Thursday at this time for a segment we call A Little Weather and Wine. Brittany Merlot, Civic Media meteorologist, is here. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Jane. I've missed you. I'm so much better now seeing your face.
Well, that's lovely of you. Thank you. I know Greg and Calvin did a great job while I was gone. I've heard nothing but good things. Nothing but good things.
I just heard some bad things from
It's an outlier.
Yeah.
Don't go there. Anyway, the weather has been incredible, at least here in southeastern Wisconsin. This cannot possibly last, can it?
Oh, no, it can't. I'm sorry. It's a second summer. You know, we get that
I
every
know.
year.
It does. Yeah. Second summer. So how long does second summer hang around?
It's pretty much over. Maybe be like tomorrow you might hit 80 or something, but
And then it ends.
Yeah.
it's over. It's over. We've got this pretty big system that's going to be moving in, and it's already draping a front through the state. And as that continues south, we're just going to see more and more shower and storm chances. It's going to be actually a really dark and damp, dreary weekend. Could be soaking in places, actually.
Okay. So not necessarily the weekend to go out and do all of my outside things.
No, unfortunately. No. I
Oh, I
wouldn't.
can't do yard work? Oh, man.
Ah, darn.
I
shucks.
gotta watch Ted Lasso for a 15th time. Oh, man.
You do.
Is this good? This is going to be statewide, Brittany. The whole change is going to affect the entire state.
Yeah, it pretty much will. I mean, the south, you're going to hang on to a little bit more mild temperatures versus the north. For example, Saturday up north, it's going to be in the low 60s, when down south, you'll be in the mid 70s on Saturday. But then it might flip on Sunday, where up north, you could maybe make it to the mid 70s, and then down south on Sunday, you could just be in the low 60s.
Oh.
So kind of a flip-flop, interesting system. It is just going to be swirling showers and storms throughout Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even lingering into Monday. And then another system wants to move through. That jet stream is seriously setting up right over Wisconsin. It looks pretty active with wet weather on and off, honestly, for the next 2 weeks or so. And then I was looking too, later on, we do drop pretty chilly, where I am seeing some 50s in the forecast, and that's before the month ends.
Oh, wow. So that's going to obviously affect the changing of the trees, the coloring of the trees, right? The earlier the cooler weather comes along, doesn't that make an impact?
Yeah, the weather plays a huge part. Well, the high wind and rain can knock the leaves off faster. We usually get that here in Wisconsin. That's usually what happens to us. But the sunshine and cooler nights is what really gives those vibrant colors. So with this week that we just had, the nights weren't as cool, but the sunshine was out. We're already seeing a couple of counties up north, Taylor, Forest, Florence, and even Brown County by Green Bay are at 30 to 50% color already.
Oh, that seems early.
Yes. I mean, their peak is supposed to be second, third week of October. So, yeah, they're already changing, and I can verify that in Marathon County, too. It's like, whew, it's about to be here. But when you get those cooler temperatures for later, I think it's definitely going to fill in. I mean, that is right at the end of September into early October, and everything is going to pop after that, and it actually looks to dry out, too. So, some perfect weather conditions moving in right in time for October. And I think it's really cool. I'm such a nerd. I was looking into why do they change the colors that they do? Because, you know, maples and oaks have the red leaves and stuff. Did you know that there's these little, like, sugars that are in different things? So basically, this anthocyanin is in a red leaf, but it's also in cranberries and blueberries. That's what gives it that color.
That brilliant red.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, well, why the yellow? What's that? Well, it's the same thing that's in corn and papayas. Isn't that interesting? And orange is the same thing as that's in a carrot. So when you trap those sugars in the leaves, that's what shines through as the tree is starting to shut down for winter.
Hey, does anybody know why Brittany Merlot wins all the awards every year? It's
Probably because I'm a geek.
And that geekdom pays off because you write great articles that talk about these. You talk about you don't just talk about the weather. You talk about things that keep us safe, how to keep our eyes out for things that are coming up in the weather. These wonderful little tidbits of joy about why the leaves change color. It's apparently they need a low sugar diet. I wasn't really listening, but the point is, this is what I love when you come here and talk to us, because there's always these great little pieces of information.
Well, and I think too, Brittany, I think you are a good indicator of who makes a good journalist, because you are curious and you find out one thing and it's like, well, why is this thing like that?
Right.
I'm going to find out why that thing does that thing.
I like that.
That's what a journalist does.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that's why you're an award-winning journalist.
Woohoo!
So as far as this rain coming in, though, Brittany, and you had mentioned that we're going to have this this Gulf Stream sitting over Wisconsin for the next 2 weeks. We're not talking about dumping another 14 inches on one area in 24 hours, I hope.
No, and I'm not seeing that in the forecast. What I am seeing, though, is potentially heavy rain Friday night and then maybe Sunday night, where we could see an inch or two. So not 14 inches, but an inch or two still adds up. And then with the consistent rain, too, on top of that, it's just going to be damp and dreary puddles, maybe low-lying flooding in certain areas that usually kind of get that after a lot of rain. But I don't think this is going to be a flash flooding, extreme downpour scenario at all.
All right, Brittany Merlot joins us every Thursday at this time for a little weather and wine, keeping us all updated. Thank you so much, my dear. We will see you next Thursday. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Stay with us. We have news coming up next. And then when we return, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel sports guru J.R. Radcliffe will be here to talk all things sports. Stay close. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the vast, statewide, countrywide. You can pick us up around the world on the Civic Media app. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jay Matenaer, Greg Bach, Sweet Calby on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Baseball action coming up later on today. Our broadcast will start at 6:05 as the Brewers host the Angels. You can listen to the game, not on the stream, but you can listen on terrestrial radio. So catch it tonight at WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh, WCQM in Park Falls, and WBZH in Hayward, also here on WRJN in Racine and Kenosha. The Brewers hosting the Angels. Our broadcast will start at 6:05. He joins us every other Thursday. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel sports guru J.R. Radcliffe is here. Good morning, J.R. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. I barely made it in on time. Had all kinds of network issues. That was a little bit thrilling, actually.
Woo!
It's the closest we'll get to James Bond.
It's not. Yes. So not very thrilling.
Well, we are thrilled that you are here.
Yes.
We're thrilled that you could join us, JR. Lots to talk about the Brewers. It's pretty exciting.
It's good. Yeah, they've won 4 or 5 here, which is a nice, a little bit of a turnaround. They were kind of dragging over the previous month since the end of that 14-game winning streak, but it's really, it's a pretty comfortable situation. They've got, there's a chance the Cubs still catch them, but it's really not likely. Their magic number is 6, which means any combination of wins or Cubs losses, they've got 10 games left on the season, will do the trick. So it's very likely the Cubs clinched the playoff spot yesterday, but they're probably going to have to play in that wild card round, and the Brewers are probably going to win the division and get one of that first round bye, that really important first round bye. There's a little bit of work to be done. There's some injuries too. Trevor McGill, Jose Quintana are kind of the big ones right now, top of mind, but they are, they're in a comfortable place. It would be nice to wrap this up sooner rather than later, and then they can, give guys rest, mess around a little bit, experiment, figure out what they want for their playoff roster. I don't know if they'll get, how much time they'll get to do that, but they are definitely heading in a great place, and they're only 4 wins away from a franchise record for most victories in franchise history. So that's also pretty exciting.
Yeah, I've been very fearful about the magic number because I felt like it was too early to ask. And then I saw an article written, I don't know if it was you who wrote it, but yeah, we're at 6. And when you say that it's comfortable and you foresee moving forward with, a division, clinching the division, a first round bye, that makes me feel better because now I'm just, I look at the standings every day. Like, just come on. It'd be so great not to have to go to the wild card again and just, let's just get that out. Can we just this time, please? Especially after, and I don't want to belabor the point, but it is true. And I'm going to put this on me. At the beginning of the season in March, I was shrugging and saying, yeah, if we get a 500 season, I'll be impressed. And my goodness, I think we are at 600 right now and have been the best record in MLB for how long? First team to 70, 80, and 90 wins. I mean, it's just been a season that I don't feel like anyone, whether you are in the business of talking about it or just a big fan, could have
foreseen this. Yeah.
No. Yeah, this is just, on paper, it still doesn't make sense. They still don't have a third baseman, although Caleb Durbin has been white hot. You still don't look at that team and say, oh, they got great guys at every position on the infield. Joey Ortiz has struggled offensively all year long, as good as he has been defensively. First base has been okay. Andrew Vaughn had that moment in the sun, but we're not talking about a position that has been one of the biggies over the course of the year. So there's places they could have gotten better, and their starting pitching is good, but I would go into the postseason looking at this team and be like, they don't maybe have that top 3. They had that in 2021 when they had, Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta at their best. This year they've got Brandon Woodruff, who's pitched amazing. He's been incredible, but he is, like some of the tools that are available to him aren't anymore. He doesn't throw as hard. His stuff isn't as good. He has to be more of a pitcher. And then Freddie Peralta has been good, but he usually doesn't work very deep into games. You could find flaws with every one of the starters. And yet, despite, I guess, what you would call the shortcomings, they are, like you said, they've been the best team in baseball for quite some time. Now, I would also point out that typically the best team in baseball is a 100-win team, even by now. Like, they are running away with that honor. We haven't had that this year. It is there is a lot of parity. And so much so that the team that's going to get the 6th seed in the NL is going to barely be an above 500 team. So, yes, they are the best. I would say the gap between them and the other playoff teams is probably going to be pretty small. The Cubs, Dodgers, Phillies, Padres, those are teams that are just as good as Milwaukee. And, in some cases better if you're looking at different aspects of the roster. So it isn't like, they have this crown and they're guaranteed anything, like they could very easily lose and people wouldn't even be surprised by that. So they have to find a way to play their best here at a point in the season, this postseason part of the year that has eluded them the last few years when they've had home games and they weren't able to cash in on that both of the last 2 seasons. And, even in 2021, they had home field advantage and weren't able to keep it against the Braves. So like it would still be, I think, a breakthrough to finally get back to where they were in 2018. And that's the NLCS, let alone anything that comes beyond that.
Exactly.
If you're just joining us, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel sports guru J.R. Radcliffe is our guest to talk all things sports. Obviously, the big story is the Brewers, and as they move forward with just a few games left in the regular season. So you had mentioned some of the teams who are going to, all things happen the way that we want them. Let's assume that, and we lock it up and we get our, we get in there. It's not a wild card. Who do you anticipate will be some of the tougher challengers that the Brewers could be facing off against?
Yeah, so right now the Phillies are pretty locked into that 2 seed if they don't in fact catch the Brewers, which I'll talk about in a second, because Brewers fans might actually want that just for personal preference. Because right now, if the season ended today, the Brewers would have the 1 seed and they would play the winner of the Padres against the Cubs. They're technically the 4 and the 5 seed because the Cubs didn't win their division. So they would be the top 3. The division winners get the top 3 seeds. So the Cubs actually will have a better record than the NL West winner probably, but they would be the 4 seed. Well, the Cubs are tough for a couple things. One is they're a bad matchup. And 2, do you really want to get into the playoffs and have Cubs fans flooding American Family Field like they always do? There's way more of them than there are of us.
That's true.
It's just they've got the spending power to do it. And, that could be kind of annoying, if you don't want to see your home field advantage kind of siphoned off a little bit. And the Padres are a very good team. They would be a very tough matchup as well. So if the Brewers were to be passed by the Phillies, say the Brewers fall to the number 2 seed, now they wouldn't be facing either one of those teams in the second round, the theoretical second round. They'd be facing either the Dodgers or whichever team gets this last playoff spot, a team that's quite honestly going to have a slightly above 500 record and not be all that great. The Dodgers are still the Dodgers. The Brewers did beat them all 6 times this year, so there's at least that. I don't know if anybody wants to face the Dodgers. They're playing pretty good baseball right now, actually. So it's probably, it's a situation where you can't really pick your path, any path. And furthermore, like against the Diamondbacks and the Mets the last 2 years, teams that the Brewers were favored to beat on paper, that did not happen. So like even that last seed team is going to be dangerous. We have seen that in the playoffs time and time again. But I think there's at least an argument, if you are looking at it from a fan's perspective that doesn't want to see Cubs fans overrun the place, maybe hold off on the Cubs getting here until the NLCS and maybe just not have to face them in the playoffs. Those two have never faced, the Brewers and Cubs in a playoff series before. So I don't, maybe Brewers fans stand their ground and they end up filling the joint and it's not as 50-50 as it frequently is. But I bet that's not going to be the case. So I would imagine if I was a fan, I might be like, can they just avoid the Cubs? Is there any way to just steer clear of them? Now maybe
not play them.
Well,
right. Maybe they storm Wrigley Field though, like they did that for game 163 in 2018. There were tons of Brewers fans at Wrigley Field. So maybe it works in reverse too. I don't know. Maybe.
I would love to see a Cubless playoffs for the Brewers just because it just adds a layer of stress to my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even thinking about other people right now, just thinking about myself.
Just me.
And yeah, I mean, every version of this. I would like to see the Brewers take on the Dodgers again and as a Brewers Dodgers 2 from 2018, where Game 7 they lost it at Game 7 and it was just miserable to watch. But I have faith that the Brewers could keep the streak alive if we had to take on the Dodgers again, because there's a fire and energy with that team. So
sure.
I also would love a version where we could just bypass it all and they just give the Brewers a ring. Be like, here, guys, you did great.
You don't want any of the
Can you make
drama.
that happen, JR? Yeah, can you make that happen?
Exactly.
Let's
Definitely
just give us
not.
the trophy and
Definitely
we're
not.
done.
You know, the Cubs clinched the playoff spot yesterday. Like I said, that's the first time since 2020 that they've been in the postseason. It's been 5 years without. And before that, because 2020 is weird and like everybody got in because of the COVID shortened season. Before that, it was 2018 when they lost in that wild card game when the Brewers and the Cubs went down to the absolute wire. So this is unusual for them. They are not frequently this good. This is a pretty good Cubs team. And it's pretty meaningful for the Chicago fans. So that's why I feel like there's going to be a lot of them coming to Milwaukee, because this is not something that they've had the last few years. Cannot relate. The Brewers go to the playoffs every year. Just simply cannot relate to what the Cubs must be facing right now.
Just,
Not at all. Yeah, no, not at all.
Oh, playoffs again? Okay, cool.
JR, we got about 2.5 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about the Packers. And I did the one thing that jumped out at me was the Lions just crushed the Bears, didn't they? It was like 52 to something, wasn't it?
Yeah. The Bears are real bad, real bad. So
what a shame. That's a shame.
It's tough. You just hate to see it to Chicago sports teams.
No.
You just hate it.
Well, I just feel bad for the fans. They always walk in on day one. They're like, here it is.
This is a year.
We have the insert new whatever it is here, whether it's coach, quarterback, running, but doesn't matter. They think that's the fix. And then within 40 minutes of the first game, they're like, oh, it's going to be the same as always.
Yeah, they win the offseason every year and never really in the season. But the Lions, like, yes, they looked great, which even though the Bears are bad, it certainly lent greater credence to the success that the Packers had in week 1 against the Lions and completely shut them down and played so well defensively. I think that's just what, the sky's the limit for this defense. I think it's just a question of how good are they? They've held two teams that came into the, two of the higher scoring, greatest teams of the best teams in the NFC last year and held them completely in check. So maybe those teams are way down. Maybe not. Maybe this is just really a special defense. So I don't know how much more we'll learn against Cleveland, because Cleveland is not great. They have a quarterback who's very old and will probably be under pressure a lot. So we'll see how that goes. They also have one of the best defensive players in football in Myles Garrett. So the offense, they've got a challenge too, because they haven't crushed it. They've been okay. They've been good enough for sure, but they haven't crushed it. So I think there's some levels to unlock there. We'll see if the Browns are kind of just what they need, just the fixins they need to get that part of the game on track.
I would really like to see the Lions do well.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, my wife's a Lions fan. We hang a Lions flag at my house in deference to her, of course. Everyone thinks it's me. They see me walking around like, oh, I see your Lions flag. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait.
You should just hang a small asterisk underneath it too, so people understand
Good
there's
point.
a reason.
I need a second flagpole for the asterisk. You're absolutely right.
Follow J.R. Radcliffe in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He joins us every other Thursday. Thank you so much, J.R. We will see you in a couple.
All right. We'll see you guys soon.
Stay with us. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show with This Shouldn't Be a Thing, Blades of Glory edition. You are listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. We will be right back. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvitini on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can always join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. One more reminder about downloading the Civic Media app. Tomorrow is our final free ticket Friday of this Brewers season. So starting tomorrow at 6 a.m., Pat Kreitlow will have a keyword for you that you can only enter via the Civic Media app. We will have a different keyword for you, 9 to 11. Then Ton Hartman, 11 to 2. Todd Alba, 2 to 4. Maggie Dawn from 4 to 6. 5 chances tomorrow for you to get in the running for a 4-pack of Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets. But again, you have to have the app. And another reason to get the app is because we are going to be having a new statewide multi-state text to win contest coming up.
What?
Yes, and you have to have the app. It is
absolutely free.
So expensive. It's just so expensive.
Pun.
Download the Civic Media app. Go to wherever you get your apps. Go to your app store and look for Civic Media, CIVIC. Coming up on the show tomorrow, it is Friday. Already.
Jeez.
Congressman Mark Pocan is going to join us in hour number 1. Lots of things to talk about the congressman with. And then Dan Schaefer, it's Friday, so Dan Schaefer will be here, Civic Media's political editor and also the creator of the Recombobulation Area. Dan Schaefer joining us in hour number 2. So I hope you can check us out tomorrow. Don't forget, if you can't, you can also go back to our website, civicmedia.us. Go to shows, click on Matenaer On Air, and that will take you to at least 100 prior shows. Greg does a great job in the show notes with articles that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So you can click on those. Other informational links are in there as well.
Yeah.
So check it out, and you can also subscribe.
And you can also subscribe to our newsletter that just came out, speaking of Dan Schaefer. I mean, there's so much
Lots going on.
Lots going on.
Lots
and
going on.
It's all so very free.
Check it out.
Check it out.
It is almost 10:55, Calvin. It's late. That means it's time for
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
If you find a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays at civicmedia.us. JANESAYS. Jane says at civicmedia.us. This from 19 News by Noel Haynes with the byline. Headline reads, Administrator suspended after selling Akron Public Schools lawnmowers on Facebook Marketplace.
Just suspended?
Just suspended. I think they have fired him.
Okay.
Akron Public Schools employee suspended at the school board meeting Monday after, selling the school's lawnmowers on Facebook Marketplace. Administrator Steve Keenan traded in 11 school lawnmowers to a vendor without the board's approval, allegedly so he could buy new lawnmowers. So he sells 11 of the school's lawnmowers to a local vendor.
Yeah.
Then he goes back and buys 7 of them back under a friends and family discount. Then he goes home and works on them and lists 5 of the 7 lawnmowers for sale on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, so now that you described this earlier, and it was very confusing because I thought he had sold their equipment.
He did, to a local vendor.
To buy new equipment for the school.
Allegedly.
Okay, allegedly. There's where, because I was like, it sounds like he just took advantage of a really sweet deal.
Yeah, he made about $14,000, $15,000. So he takes the school's lawnmowers, sells them without permission.
There it is. Okay.
Without permission.
There. Okay, got it.
Buys them back.
Yep. All right.
Takes them home, refurbishes them a little bit, and then puts them on Marketplace and rakes in about $15,000.
Put some like K-pop Demon Hunters stickers on them and like
he detailed them.
Detail me.
They had flames on the side.
It's like says you are Knuff.
The APS school board, under recommendation from the superintendent, is considering firing him. Because he violated the code of ethics. He has been suspended without pay while they consider his firing. In an update here on 19 News, still says he's just suspended.
You know he's sitting somewhere like either a bar or garage going, I don't know what I did wrong.
Why was it? Was this wrong?
Was this wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. We need new lawnmowers.
But you didn't buy new lawnmowers. You bought them back and then you sold them.
Just hire a kid. Kids need a job in the summertime.
Busy this summer?
Yeah, right. I'm surprised some schools haven't done that already.
Well, if he does lose his job, he can start a lawn mowing company.
Exactly. Or start his own late night show. I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's many job openings right now.
There are, absolutely. That wraps up today's episode of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin and all of our engineers and everyone at Civic Media. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and leaving voice notes and for listening.
They've been fun.
It means the world. It genuinely does. And I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just a little bit and you have the chance to share it. Keep it right here. We have Tom Hartman on the way after the news, Todd Albert 2 to 4, Maggie Dawn 4 to 6, Pete Schwaba lightening up with Nightlight from 6 to 8, and then Robert Pilot on Native Roots Radio. Keep it here on the Civic Media Radio Network, and we will see you tomorrow.